Holy chakra! Content is explicit. You have been warned.
Welcome. You are listening to Bewitch Banter. We're two best friends.
One skeptical over there, Amy.
And our resident believer, Krista.
What's up? We talk about the healing powers of things like the chakras.
And what I would call magical thinking.
But really, y'all, we talk about the spooky, spiritual, some whack-ass religions and cults, and the paranormal.
And sometimes I try to bring us back to earth and talk about how the science community debunks most of what we talk about here on this podcast.
There is absolutely no question, though, that you need, guess it, a chakra alignment. So before we get started, if y'all couldn't figure it out, we are covering the chakras, or chakras, as I think it's actually pronounced in Hindu.
Chakra?
Chakra.
Chakra.
Like chakra.
Oh, chakra.
I still say chakra because that's just how I say shit, but I do believe the actual pronunciation is chakra. So anyhow, what I'd like to do is a little demonstration this morning as we record this lovely Sunday on my lovely new home couch. Okay, so you see this cards displayed in front of you.
I do.
This is a psychic tarot deck that my sister bought me years ago as a Christmas gift. And within this set, it's not just oracles, but it has a whole little deck of the chakras. So I like to separate these. Actually, I have these in my meditation space, just displayed, just to be, they're really beautiful, right? Like at least it's a rainbow. Mm-hmm. If nothing else, Ames, you can at least say they're artistically beautiful.
Yeah, it has some pride going on.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think of it like that. But yeah, Pride Month. So
well, it's over now. It's July.
Oh yeah, I'm sad.
And the Supreme Court definitely ended Pride Month in the worst way ever.
I didn't see that headline. What happened?
Oh, they approved that businesses can refuse to service gay LGBTQ.
Oh, then that's
customers.
your fucking loss, you jackasses. That's their fucking loss. You know what? They're so stupid financially. Those business owners.
Well, I was talking about this with Corey today. I don't think it would work at a brick and mortar store because it would the word would get around. But it could work for like an online store because then people would be like, oh, I want to support this Christian store online.
Yeah.
But let's say it was like a cake shop in Phoenix. Social media would go insane and everyone would know not to go there. But yeah. I do think online it could work because I think some people might want to support them in the cause, but they're all bigots.
No, I mean,
basically, I just screw them
1,000%. And again and again and again, I will say, why do you give a fuck who is fucking who?
But my problem with it all is, so the world is literally on fire, and this is what we're worried about,
right? That too, right? Actually, the smoke's bad in Chicago too.
Yeah, from Canada. They said it's going to keep being bad for a long time because they can't contain the fire, and they have to use their resources to protect, like, obviously people's homes where they can. Right, so it's going to be smoky for a long time.
I know. I told her, I was like, wear your masks, my sister and kids. She's like, I feel like if you haven't already, wear your masks outside. It's like, it's COVID all over again for them. What the fuck?
I know, but that's where we spend our energy. But these are all distraction issues.
They're distraction issues, right? Because they don't want to deal with climate change because they're benefiting off of the fossil fuels still. Whatever. Let's go back to happy place. Let's go back to our rainbow of chakras.
It's hard to be happy. We need drugs.
So what I need to do, I've got to move this a minute. So we're going to take a hot pause. Think of like, you know how I always read your cards? Think of a prayer, thought, intention, and desire, right? That you want to manifest right now. You already manifested your job. So
I'm going to go with, since me and Krista are trying to kick up our fitness journey.
Yes. Health.
I'm going to focus on health.
Okay. Let's see what happens. And that is the heart chakra card, as you know. So it's interesting. I was going to have you shuffle them and do like a little blind pick to see, but you're not into it, I don't think. So we'll just stick with green because the heart chakra, we'll get into every single one of them in a moment. But it's funny that you said our health journey because in yogic practice and theory, it actually is aligned with our endocrine system. So health related. All right, so let's get into this. Let's get into it. it takes me this episode actually way the hell back to like our second or third episode that you did on the history of yoga. And I don't know if you were mentioned that, or if you remember mentioning that no one really knows the true origins of yoga itself.
Probably same as chakra, right?
Loosely, yep, exactly, because chakras are derived from the yogic practice. And if you remember, listeners who haven't, go back to Amy's yoga history episode, super good, and it's fascinating, that it derived loosely from Vedic and Tantric Hindu texts. And as a reminder, those are some of the oldest Hindu writings in the world, dating all the way back between 1500 to 500 BC. So a bit more history that we have on record, albeit it's very little, also come from the Yoga Sutras around 200 BC, and the Tantric and Kundalini yoga practices around 6 to 700 AD. And according to Yoga with Ali van Vossen, the owner and founder of Mind Body Soul Studio, Body Mind Soul Studio, she is a yogini, which if you recall from your episode, means female practitioner. And then yogi would be male. She's a yogini, but also that said, I don't say that loosely, she actually really did study this stuff thoroughly, right? She has a vast knowledge of yoga and its practice. So that's what her video was fabulous. It took you through each one of the chakras. It was like yoga 101 for beginners, chakra 101 for beginners. But so according to her, the 670 AD timeline, tantric and kundalini practices are when chakras really, quote, came alive, right? And I say that because you'll see why in a minute. They started to move, wink, wink, in the broader human consciousness and the practices.
Did you believe in the idea of chakra before your research?
I did, and I only knew it through my practice of yoga. So actually,
do you think now?
I think there's something to it, and we'll get to it at the end. We go through this all the time. You and I are constant battle of the sexes. No, our battle is usually because you obviously are way more science driven than me, and again, I
guess I'm fact driven.
I believe in science and fact. However, I also believe in unseen phenomena of many kind, including those that can't be explained by pure science.
I think that in a sense, but I also think sometimes like this stuff, which I don't really even know what chakra is, to be honest.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, but I do think a lot of times there are things we don't understand, but it's like humans always feel like they have to have the answer, and maybe a lot of times I don't think humans have the right answer.
Sure.
To stuff either.
Sure. This to me, I do believe, because you know why? Because it relates to Eastern medicine. And I think it's so stupid that yes, I love that we have science and we actually have the scientific method for surgeries and cleanly hands and bacteria and things to actually solve our diseases. However, I also think there's a place for Eastern medicine as a supplement, never ever to take away from the science-based fact medicine, never. I think it's a great supplement for healing for a lot of people going through cancer treatments or other types of ailments and diseases.
But even sometimes it's just the belief, because they have proven, even when they give people a placebo, like in test trials, it doesn't do anything, but the belief that it's doing something does do something for someone.
Exactly. And I think
so sometimes it might not even be the actual practice, but if someone has the belief it's doing something for them, it might work, even if it's a placebo.
And I actually have a quote way down from a psychologist that talks about that as it relates to chakras. So what the hell are they? Any guesses?
I know they're through your spinal cord,
okay,
right?
Check.
There's like 7, I think, like energies or something you have to satisfy.
You're pretty close. You're pretty close. So they are very complex,
right?
Yep, they're a complex and nuanced spiritual religious tradition that originates from yoga in India. And according to the ancient text, chakra, the word literally translates to the wheel in Sanskrit. So imagine how old that is. Like Sanskrit's a beautiful old ancient language, right? That's kind of fucking cool. I actually watched this documentary on Cleopatra 2 weekends ago. I binged it. It was good. Side note though, that's neither here nor there, but it reminded me of the ancient languages and practices. So it was really cool. All right, so it means the wheel, because they are believed to be vibrant, moving, energetic discs, to your point, along the spinal cord. And apparently, according to these texts, they relate to all kinds of physical, mental, emotional states of health, again, affecting self-expression and even the way you perceive yourself and your reality around you. So essentially, according to these texts, they're the architecture of the soul and really are there for us to really transform our lives in a positive way if we choose to pay attention to each of these energy systems. And they really are something, it's really cool because I love this. They describe complex polarities of life, right? Yin yang, masculine, feminine, the moon and the sun, liberation or manifestation. And that's
Republican or Democrat.
there you go, ding ding, modern times.
Asshole or a nice person.
And which P.S. What did we talk? We talked about this on Friday, I think. But Bobby Kennedy's a Democrat, but he's actually an anti-vaxxer or Junior, Bobby Kennedy Jr.
And the guy who's running.
I'm kind of for it. I think it's smart to get at least. Yeah, he's a little bit.
I heard he's a wackadoo.
Alternate views, but at least it's better than Biden. A and B. At least it's taking the crazies to the Democratic side. Hopefully.
I don't know. I don't know enough to comment.
So that's neither here nor there. Okay. The science behind the chakras was a fascinating read from Discover magazine. This article by Sarah Novak was from December of 2021. She interviews a licensed counselor and yoga therapist, Carla Helbert, who wrote Chakras in the Grief and Trauma. So she said, quote, "The chakras regulate functions that affect us on all levels, as I said, physical, mental, emotional, intuitive, spiritual, and sensory. I think of them as invisible energy organs. Each one of them are self-contained and having the functions that impact all parts of the whole." So almost like an assembly line in your body, if you will. That's how I kind of envision it, right? Like a moving machine, but in energetic form. But to me, it's kind of like, I like that she described them as organs, even though they're invisible, because all of our organ functions are obviously very complex machinery inside of us that control a vast array of all of those things she mentioned. All right. So as you said, I'm really proud you knew this. Did you know it because of me? That there are 7?
No, I've just seen pictures with like the little dots on people's bodies.
Yeah, the spinal.
Like at yoga studios.
Yeah. All right, so there are 7 in total, starting from your root, which is your coccyx bone, moving all the way up to your crown, the top of your head.
Your a-hole bone?
Right in top of your a-hole bone, yeah, pretty much.
So it's giving it energy sometimes I need to explode.
There are 7 in total. Again, starting from your coccyx zone all the way up to the top of your head, the crown.
You said toxic?
Coccyx.
Coccyx?
You never heard of that?
No, what is it?
It's the bone in the very bottom of your spine, that big one.
I don't know what my bones
are
called.
Bone.
Okay.
You never heard that, like when in sports or like going sledding?
I heard tailbone.
It's your tailbone.
I don't know. Coccyx bone.
It's it's the coccyx.
No, I don't know that.
Anyway, it's your tailbone for simpletons out there.
You just said sports like I watch sports.
So, the 3 lower chakras represent material earthly bodies, the world around us, including our survival instinct, reproduction, and self-confidence. The heart chakra, which you placed our lovely Palo Santo on, is linked to empathy and the acceptance of others.
Okay.
And the upper 3, throat, your third eye, and your crown, I knew that from memory, I'm very proud of myself, are related to self-expression, intuition, and our connection to the divine.
Okay. So
coming into the mainstream, I think it's a pretty goddamn cool practice for our ancient people, but applying, again, like I was saying, Eastern medicine to now, and how we can use that as a supplemental healing modality instead of just drugs, right? Like we're so obsessed with drugs, and a pill can solve everything, or surgery can solve everything. Obviously, there's mandatory surgeries, right, for very severe tumors or cancerous or other situations, But as far as helping yourself heal, again, even if it is placebo, I see no harm in this. And I think it's really fucking cool ancient wisdom to apply.
Well, it just seems like you're attending to your emotional needs.
Exactly. It's spiritual.
It's just like a organized... Sounds like it's like a practice to make sure you're meeting all your needs physically and mentally.
Exactly. So how to come to the West? leave it to Americans as usual to bastardize everything and colonize ancient scriptures as our own. As you know, as you walk in any yoga studio, you see this shit. You see the herbs, the candles, the fucking, what do you call it? The crystals. All that shit has become commodified, which is upsetting to me. But anyway, it came through the
Aren't
West.
you the one buying that stuff though?
I'm trying not to actually anymore, because Courtney brought up a really good point when I interviewed her about like the bundle of stuff I have upstairs. My mom got it for me from the Herb Museum of like sage and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's not authentic. I'm not an indigenous high priestess that actually has the rights to do that. And my mom didn't know, right? She was doing it out of the goodness of her heart, like thinking it was sweet, and it was sweet. But I'm trying not to buy into any of the commodification of ancient practices of like when it becomes super commercialized, and it did, as we know.
I guess. So is she saying it's insensitive or impolite for you to take one of their practices and use it?
That, and to buy it off of like a QR code or something. You know what I mean? Like the transactional nature of it versus the spiritual nature of it from a native person. So
wouldn't
both.
the Herd Museum be supporting the indigenous community though?
Yeah.
Because all the profits go towards that?
I think they do. So that was probably good. But there's all those crystal shops around the valley in the world that are for profit, right? So it's just being authentic and being a smart shopper, if you will, and trying to buy authentic. Yeah. Like, example in Hawaii, like that interview, she's like, everything you probably bought says made in China or Taiwan. And she was right. And I felt I like was so ignorant, but it was a great lesson of like really, really do your research and try to find things that are made by and for native folks.
Yeah, I guess you could say that for everything in life. Like just trying to like support businesses that are doing good things, just being an educated consumer.
Exactly.
Which is like a full-time job.
No
if you
shit.
want to do it right.
It sure is. Anyway, it came to the West very much, as we know, became very popular culture in actually way earlier than the 60s or 70s. You would think that would be when the New Agey movement was happening. That was when chakras became powerful. But actually, way earlier. In 1919, Arthur Avalon, he, I think, was a white guy, but he studied the Shaktic and Tantric thought of yoga, and he wrote this book on the mythological nature of Kundalini, so the serpent power. Mm-hmm. This is kind of badass. She is the goddess, the ultimate heart of many areas of Eastern religion, many Eastern religions, not just Hinduism. So she comes through as a serpent, which I thought was very interesting because going back to my voodoo episode on Marie Laveau, that book, like she was represented as a serpent too. And so African religions would be included in this symbolism of the female power taking shape of a serpent, which is interesting because of fucking course Christianity puts the snake as evil. I can't. You know what? That's a whole nother topic. We're going to get into this. So he says this book, just a recap of this book to tell you about Kundalini. Through these documents, the reader learns about the essence of Kundalini yoga. For centuries, the material was closely guarded and a secret of India. Even to native scholars were not allowed access to it. In fact, it was so restricted that many Indologists, those who study indigenous folks, refused to recognize Kundalini's existence. It took half a lifetime of searching for Sir John Woodruff to locate the key documents to master what they were and evoke the texts into a way that we could actually understand them in the Western world. The result, though, was one of the most important developments in Indian thought, and it was a key area to art and religion, and unlocked this for so many of us Westerners. And it really just helped to bring the Eastern philosophies into our practice and mainstream with validity just by experiencing it themselves. And so that's what that book was about. Okay, so that is how it came here. And then again, obviously, 1960s, 70s New Age movement, hugely popular. So, you know, we have the Beatles going to
like the hippie movement.
India, hippies just using the DIY religion yoga to find themselves, which I still respect. As long as you're being authentic to the originators, I think it's okay.
Well, isn't everything a little bit in life like we're blending and copying other people, like in art and religion?
Absolutely. Yep. As long as you're being respectful to the original intent, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So are you ready for the 7 chakras?
Yes. So do those colors in the card actually have something to do with the chakra? I thought so. I thought. Okay.
Yep. We're going to cover those right now. All right. So we're going to start
with the crotus. Croctus.
The root.
Or the croctus.
Coccyx. Also the root. So your butt bone or your tailbone, as you said. So this is the base of your spine.
Okay.
Anything to do with the lower body. The element is earth. It's the color red, as you can see on this color or this card. It is related to the physical body, your identity, and you having the right to be here and be here to belong and have stability, support, security, physical health, and well-being, trust, and prosperity. Okay? When it's balanced, you will feel supposedly focused and present, feeling stable and secure. You have a good survival instinct, dependability, reliability. You feel grounded with yourself and others, and the ability to take care of yourself.
So, sorry not to interrupt you, but are you going to cover this? I don't really get what's a chakra alignment. Is that like someone like trying to give you like an energy field type thing?
Yes, exactly. And you can do it for yourself, whereas Reiki is a Japanese practice of hands moving over the body and aligning with that. But the practice is like meditation, essentially, and different yoga poses that can activate or unblock, quote unquote, these different energy fields.
I feel like to me, I couldn't imagine paying someone to wave their hands over my body.
Listen, if it feels good, I'm into it.
You wouldn't feel anything, though.
You do, from what I understand. Actually, I did it once. My friend who's registered, what up, Tarish? She's fascinating and amazing and talented, and she did it for me. And she picked up some shit on me and unratchet, which was kind of crazy.
So did she just wave her hands around you?
Yeah, she just like feels your energy.
See, that I think is a crock of shit, but whatever. I mean, if people want to charge and make money off that, go for it.
It was my friend.
See,
Thank you,
that
T.
seems like a scam, but whatever.
Okay.
I feel like therapy might be a better use of someone's time.
We're moving on to the sacral. Oh, I forgot to say its name. Sorry, in Sanskrit. The root in Sanskrit is Muladhara. Muladhara. Okay, moving on to the sacral, which is pardon the pronunciation, y'all, but I thought it was kind of cool to bring in the language, is Swadhisthana in Sanskrit. And so that's your next one up, orangey. It's your lower abs, your genitalia, your pelvis, and your sacrum.
One to do with reproduction, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. Your water element, your emotional identity. And the activity associated with this is your right to feel. So we all have a right to feel. And then each one of these is associated with like a basic human right or instinct. But there's also a negative side, right, to each one of these things, like everything else. So the shadow or the wound side of the sacral chakra is guilt. So if that's out of whack or hurting or you're feeling guilt, you might want to check out some healing properties or yogic poses that help with this. The purpose is for, again, emotional well-being, healthy sexuality, and when balanced, you're getting it on. No, no, it's good for reproduction as well.
You reach a Zen state.
Oh, sure did this morning twice. Thanks. Okay, solar plexus is kind of here, like your lungs.
Okay.
Ish, like your rib cage. Like,
wouldn't your lungs be more down here?
I think it's in here. It's all between in here. It's just your solar plexus.
I felt like you were just like feeling up your boobs then.
Oh, sorry.
I was like,
I wasn't doing that.
That's not your lungs.
Is in between the breasts.
Okay.
And like, so between your navel center and like your rib cage. So navel center, the element is fire. Shh. color yellow, and it's associated with your ego identity and doing, active, taking action, your right to act. The shadow or wound is shame, and the purpose is power, will, strength, and self-esteem. Okay, which is funny. I read my cards every full moon, and for a while, going through my really shitty times, I would get cards related to the solar plexus, and that I just needed to find the self-esteem to get the fuck out of that situation. So again, obviously may or may not be correlated, but I correlated it, and it's kind of cool. All right, heart. Oh, sorry, solar plexus in Sanskrit is Manipura. Heart in Sanskrit is Anahata. It's your entire chest, not just the heart, by the way. So crostis. The element is air. And the color is green. And it's connecting you to your right to be loved, to love and be loved. Everyone has that right. Speaking of the fucking assholes in Congress, fuck you. Everyone has a right to be loved.
That's the meaning of my name.
Amy?
It means to be loved.
It does?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
Really? That's so pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, it takes on a whole other meaning now.
Hey, I put my, whatever that thing is on it.
The Palo Santo.
Yeah.
To be loved. To be loved. Okay, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so in English? Like what's
I don't know. I've just seen those. I just seen it at like gift shops.
Wait, let me look it up. Hold on, now I need to know. Amy meaning. Beloved, according to dictionary.com. But let's see, there's other ones. What does an beloved feminine name for the Latin and French origins coming from the old French name ami? Oh, like amor.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That was
That's cool. Okay. Back to chakras. So everyone's right to be loved, obviously. The wound or shadow is grief. So broken heart, i.e., right? We all know that. Colloquialism and feeling. We've all sadly experienced it before, and different levels, different relationships, obviously. But brokenhearted is not a great feeling. So purpose of the heart chakra, no shit, is love, relationships, balance, and connection. Moving on to the throat, Vishuddha. It's your tongue, jaw, throat, and ears. And the element sound or the ethers. Mm-hmm. So hearing, like the auditory and the ethers, all the energies out there in the universe. It also, you'll love this, it speaks to your creative identity.
Your throat?
Mm-hmm. And your
surprising.
Your right to speak and be heard. The wound, this makes sense. I think wound or shadow is lies. So if you're using your throat to speak lies, that's not good, right? That's negative. Bad energy. Or mean, cruelty, visual words, that's using your throat to put out bad juju out there. However, again, the good news is the purpose in a positive reflection of it is creativity, clear communication, listening, and resonance. So if you have like a big speech coming up or an interview, maybe meditate on your throat chakra and to be heard in the way that you deserve to be heard. Okay, this is my favorite. Also favorite band, Third Eye. Not blind, but the third eye, right between your eyebrows. In Sanskrit, it's called ajna. And again, right here. The element is light, so associated with sight. The color is indigo, as you can see. Mm-hmm. The identity has to do with seeing and your right to see. Visions. The wound, though, is when you can start seeing illusions, right? And misseeing the truth. The purpose, though, is clear sight, clarity, intuition, imagination, and reflection. And finally, moving on to the crown.
So the top of your head, right?
Mm-hmm, right here is Sahasra. Sahasra. I'm sorry. I apologize out there.
You should have that one guy who helps me out in episodes say it.
Oh shit. Let's see.
You just howpronounce.com.
Okay, thanks.
Sahasrara.
It's got 3 out of 5 on difficulty.
Sahasrara.
Sahasrara.
I feel like that's kind of hard to say.
Why did I make it
That's like a
Italian?
mouthful.
I made that Italian. Sahasrara. Why I can't not make it Italian? I'm sorry. Definitely not. Okay, we're just gonna. You guys heard it first. Thanks, howtopronounce.com. Sponsor us. Okay, so again, crown, top of your head. Thought is the element. So the element of thinking. Color is violet, and it's your right to think and be thought of. And the wound is attachments. Purpose is awareness, spiritual connection, and awakening. So they say, you reach quote unquote enlightenment when you reach the crown chakra. But I think enlightenment's, I think it's BS in that they teach us that it's a destination. You're never going to reach it because there's no such thing. I think.
Well, we covered that in my yoga episode. Didn't they say no one reaches it?
Exactly.
I thought that was the whole point, unless you're like a prophet.
Exactly.
Or you're dead. I don't know. One of the two.
Jesus call us. Yes,
well, didn't they say something like there was no point of living if you reached enlightenment?
Yeah, I agree. So I'm with you on that for sure. Like we're always going to be evolving and learning, and if we're not, then what the fuck's the point of this chaotic, crazy ass thing of human existence, right? Other than to constantly improve ourselves and others, right? Okay. So those were the 7 chakras. Back to the practical application though in yoga. And again, since you're more aligned with yoga as a physical fitness practice than you are of a meditation and spiritual vibes like me, what do you think so far?
Of chakras?
Yeah.
I think it's good for people to be in tune with their body. And I think it's good to be aware of all these emotions and needs that you need to like fulfill your emotional well-being, because I feel like we have all different kinds of needs.
Mm-hmm.
I think a chakra alignment where someone's waving their hand over you is a total con. And I can't believe people charge for that. I saw a Gwyneth Paltrow episode.
Oh God, that bitch.
And it was that show. I've talked about it several times, but
when we covered what episode was it? We covered Goop on corrupt self-care organizations.
But there was something, it wasn't a chakra, maybe it was a chakra alignment. I can't remember. It was this lady, she was like waving her hands and then people were like convulsing and I was like, this is bullshit.
The convulsing, no.
So I think chakra, yes, I think being in tune with your body. I can see that it's cool. It's an ancient practice. Do I think I think like maybe people are trying to make money off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know.
Gotcha.
But I think it's good to be in tune with your emotional needs, or think maybe, I don't know, like, hey, I need to spend a little more time on being enlightened. I don't know.
Whoa, you guys. We have this on record. Holy shit.
I don't know if I think it's just people wanting like a organized way to kind of reflect on their needs.
Yeah, and I think that's what I
think
love
there's nothing
about
wrong with that. I don't know if I believe it's 100% real, but
sure. Okay. I'm down with that.
What do you think?
I love it as far as, again, even if it's placebo, it comes a lot. It relates a lot to meditation. And as you know, that's my daily practice. And so for me, I can meditate on different areas of my emotional and spiritual health that need alignment. Obviously, right now, my physical health is what I need to again pray on, right? Because I have not been taking care of that.
But I think that's just. I think it's like this is a good way for people, like I guess I should say like a method.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we all have different emotional needs that need to be met, and this is probably a way to reflect on those different emotional needs.
Yeah,
so I guess just. Other than that, I think it's really cool. I just don't like the people waving their hands and thinking
and sending thousands.
They're like some kind of spiritual goddess.
Yeah,
and giving energy. I think they're like a scam artist.
And I feel similar, actually, sadly, because I want to believe it's real. But after this podcast, all of our research, and I feel similarly that I do about psychics. Like, I think 99.9% of it's bullshit, but I do think there are gifted humans out there, especially if you're indigenous and you have learned these practices from ancient peoples passed down. I think there are some people out there that really do have gifts. But again, I think it's so slim because so many people have bastardized it and commodified it, and that a lot of it's BS. So just do your research, y'all. Like, if you're gonna go out there and do this and you want to pay that money, go do it. But like, if you don't, just do your research.
Those people probably have really high emotional intelligence. I mean, probably higher emotional intelligence than more people. Like, people who are good at it.
Yeah.
I guess I could say have really high emotional intelligence. They probably can do a really good job reading people.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. If people want to use it as a guide to be more satisfied and happy in life, go for it. Why not? It doesn't seem like there's anything.
Guys, I'm chakra.
I don't think there's anything harmful about it, right?
I'm straight up chakra right now.
I don't know. Is there a downside to chakra I don't know about?
Not that I could think of, unless people are like trying to do a crazy yoga pose that they can't physically do and hurt themselves more physically.
Yeah, but you could do that like in a normal gym.
True.
Like in a workout class and break your back.
Okay. What are you doing?
I'm Googling, is there a downside to chakra?
I'm like, this bitch got her phone out. She's not listening anymore. She's done.
Warning signs, your chakras are out of balance.
Yeah, you're only going to get like people that want to draw you into their landing pages to learn more about it, to then offer their services. So good luck.
Yeah, it's not telling me.
All right, so back to the practical application, the ways to balance them. According to Ellie von Fosten, who again was the yogi I mentioned at the top, you can work with your chakras in two ways, either from your root to your root to your crown, or your crown to your root. And each of those, not manipulations, what's the word? Modalities have different purposes. So the root to crown is for liberation, the liberation current, right, of energy, right? Remember, these are moving discs of energy. It's currents, right? It's going to be constantly moving. And that is called mukti. Or you can work from your crown down to your coccyx, to your root. And that is for manifestation currents, called buktu. So depending on what it is you need or want to manifest or liberate, set yourself free of burdens. Maybe it's grief, guilt, shame, whatever the fuck. Maybe mukti is better for you. If you are trying to bring in health and physical energy like myself, just being a better person with my physical, like loving myself physically, maybe I need to do buktu.
What's buktu?
Working from the crown to the root to manifest. Okay, so why the fuck does this matter? The science, your favorite part. Sadly, for believers like me, there is no scientific evidence at all to prove that the chakras are real. And this really great article, as I said, this is called What the Science Says, from Healthline. Quote, the chakra system has long been a part of many spiritual traditions, yet there's no evidence to support their existence. End quote.
Dun, dun, dun. Am I surprised?
And according to Shamini Jain, she's a psychologist and researcher for UC San Diego and author of Healing Our Lives, studying bioenergies and science and the future of health, which is really fucking cool. We have a lot of researchers at our university studying similar things. Anyhow, she says, this is really a Western point of view, and we don't have any data to prove the connection. However, or end quote, however, you might be surprised to know that there have actually been several attempts to study the chakra's existence scientifically.
But they just said there's no proof,
There
right?
haven't been the proof, but there have been studies to attempt to.
I mean, you can say that about anything.
I'm surprised that people actually studied it because most scientists in the science community think of a lot of these new age practices as bullshit, but they actually did try to study it and find the source of the quote energies. So in 1978, Valerie Hunt at UCLA, she's a scientist, author, and lecturer, and in psychological science. She studies bioenergy. And during that time, she's passed away. P.S. She was a cute old lady. Almost looked like the Dreams doctor.
Aw.
He was cute. But during her study of the chakras, she used electrodes, which I think is pretty fucking smart, right? To try to study the energy fields, to measure the energy outputs where the chakras are supposedly along your spine. So, for example, she used an electrocardiogram at the heart to measure those changes electromagnetically throughout the body. Unfortunately, it wasn't the best study, as it is believed that the practice, we're going back to the ancient lens of the practice, the energies are constantly moving and swirling. So it's hard to isolate one heart chakra, let's say, in her study. So it would be an imbalanced study anyway, based on the premise alone, right? You can't really study that. You can't do the, what's it called, X and Y. You can't isolate the factor that you're trying to study.
Yeah,
Whatever the,
I understand
what's
what you're
that
saying.
called in science again?
Control factor?
Thank you.
The control group.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for.
Thank you. Ames comes through with the science. So really hard to study. However, she did end up writing a book in 1996 called The Infinite Mind, Science of the Human Vibrations of Consciousness. So for the believers like me, I think that's pretty fucking cool. And it's just something I think we should all consider. Again, I believe in many unseen phenomena, and I think that it's silly to discount them. Moving on, though, to 2005, there was also another paper written in the evidence-based complementary and alternative medicine journal called The Scientific Basis of Integrative Medicine. And I think basically this study was a bunch of different authors looking to see how, again, the support of alternative medicines in addition to medicine work, right? And they mentioned the chakras as, quote, are energy transducers for the subtle energy. And subtle energy is energy that anyone can learn to perceive and utilize. It is crucial, but often missing a component in healthcare, end quote. So they're purporting to mention the chakras only once, by the way, in this very long paper as a alternative use, but they didn't even study them.
But I think, going off of that, Western healthcare doesn't look at a lot of times like preventative care, the emotional well-being. Right. Like you said, it's like take this magic pill that's going to solve your problem rather than looking at why do you need this pill? Right. Or how could we prevent you from taking this pill?
Hello, pharma.
Yeah. So I
Big
guess,
pharma owning the fucking world.
Well, it's like our whole healthcare system, doctors don't even have enough time to really come in and talk to you.
Yep. That's why my sister's the best fucking doctor in the world, y'all. Anyway, shout out.
I think someone who believes in chakras are probably more attuned with their emotional needs. So there could be advantages, even like I said at the very beginning, placebo.
I actually love my GP too. He's fabulous. He literally, even if he doesn't remember, he does a fucking great job of faking it and acting like he remembers. And I think he does. I don't think you can fake that shit.
I was told that they take notes when you leave on what you said.
Well, yeah, of course.
Because I was like,
I would.
Yeah, I don't even remember people I talked to last week.
Anyhow, so that paper, to your point, it didn't prove anything about the chakras. It just mentioned them. Finally, there have also been studies to study Reiki. As I said, this is a Japanese healing energy technique that employs a gentle use of physical touch or just hovering over the body. And it has actually been proven on its impact lowering anxiety, depression, pain, as well as just improving overall well-being.
Wouldn't that just be like because you're meditating?
That's kind of the point, and we'll get to that here in a hot second. There is a connection to the endocrine system and why that matters. Again, while the scientists, doctors, they have not been able to prove or use a solid methodology to study the chakras, scientists have agreed, again, that Eastern medicine, like balancing chakras and Reiki, can indeed reduce stress. However, they don't know, to your point, as you were just saying, it's successful in lowering anxiety and stress because they don't know if it's the practice itself that's actually reducing the stress, or that because the practice relieves stress in the body that you're like feeling better. So they can't say, oh, it's because you did this that it leads to XYZ, right? Again, there's no control factor. So in today's medicine, while chakra work alone is absolutely no substitute for medicine, medical treatments, therapy, surgeries, there have been some links to other endocrine pieces. So again, root chakra, coccyx, the cox is related to your ovaries or testes. The throat is related to your thyroid, and the heart chakra with your thymus, which I think that's part of your brain, right? What is your thymus? I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah.
I think it's brain. What is thymus?
I'm thinking about thyroid. That's something else.
Thymus. Oh, it's like right here. A small organ that lies in the upper chest under the breastbone. It makes white blood cells called lymph. Oh, it's your lymphatic system, and it helps prevent against infections. Interesting. Okay, so they have loosely linked it to those areas of the body and the chakra system to those endocrine systems. But because, again, to belabor this point, since it's so hard to study these Eastern systems, it's really difficult for research like Shamini Jain and Valerie Hunt, who I mentioned. And Valerie Hunt, again, is the lady, older lady in the 70s who really did try to use the tools that we have to measure these unseen forces. But because it's so hard, it's hard for them to get large-scale funding for anyone to study systems like chakras and their abilities to heal. Because as we know, in the West, seeing is believing. And finally, Shamini Jain says, quote, "We're comfortable with the idea that any drug can fix a problem, or that a drug can fix problems, but we're not comfortable with energy doing the same thing because many don't believe that energy is real," end quote. So, moral of the story, as I said at the top, I believe in unseen forces, whether we can prove them or not. And I think it's really silly to dismiss them and just broadly dismiss them. And that's my theory.
So, interesting enough, I found an article from Washington Post, and it is about chakra and how it's been like weaponized as a tool, as a way to like scam people in the yoga world.
Oh, see, and that's the negative side of it.
That's what I was saying. I feel like, yes, it's cool. There is this like methodology and like practice people can follow, but also it's like these types of things end up in the wrong people's hands, and then they scam people. That's why it makes me a little wary of it. I feel like if it makes you feel better, go for it.
Yeah.
If like sitting on your couch and eating a big bowl of pasta makes you feel better, to do it
all the time. Except for when we're trying to have sex.
Last week, we needed an intervention because we ate quesadillas and Jersey Mike's. I did not feel better. Going on a walk makes you... I'm all for whatever makes you feel better, as long as you're not harming anyone.
Exactly. And this is the whole premise of Bewitched Banter. Is like anything in the wrong hands gets fucking bastardized and weaponized, like you said. So I think, again, that's why I'm weary of going to be more mindful of just going to my crystal shops and shit, because I don't want to perpetuate BS, right? And I don't want to spend the money, and B, I just don't.
Yeah, you don't got that crystal money right now.
I ain't got that crystal money right now, guys.
You will. She's gonna get that crystal money.
And then I can spend $200 on candles again.
No, I'm not letting that happen again.
She did let me do it once, guys.
No, I think I went to the bathroom when I came back.
And I was like, oops.
She was in the crystal shop and spent $200.
On candles, not crystals. But
every time we walk by that store, me and Corey, I'm like, Krista spent $200 there.
Actually, I found the henna store bag the other day. I think I put it away. But it was like, last night when I was cleaning, I was like, oh, my candle bag. But anyway, that is the 7 chakras.
Very nice. I learned a little bit.
I'm
gonna make my lips tickle.
Peace, bewitches.
Be smart, bewitches.
Thanks for listening. Check us out on Instagram or bewitchbanter.com. Suggestions for the show? Emails at bewitchbanter@gmail.com. Credits, music, Phantom Fun, by Jonathan Boyle from premiumbeat.com. Podcasts edited and produced by Krista Hinz and Amy Holt. As always, if you enjoyed, please rate, review, and subscribe.